Welcome to What the Health? Where anything health is fair game as we tackle the trends and bust the myths about health and wellness. Here are your hosts, Dr. Dan and Angela Toro.
And welcome to another episode of What the Health. I am Dr. Dan with my co-host,
Angela. Welcome back, guys. Get it out of the way real quick. We're here for informational purposes only, not offering any individualized medical advice. As always, talk to your trusted healthcare provider. Although I really don't think what we're talking about today is
going to impact that.
Although sometimes we get off topic.
So anyway, I'm going to let you talk about a lot of this because you do a lot of that training and have people who want to beat themselves up and want to go hard with their training, their exercise, daily activity routine. But I always love, because I usually get the phone calls, especially as we're transitioning into the springtime. People are going to get out, although we've had a very mild winter. But people are going to get out of their house over the next month or two, and they're going to start getting excited about getting their gardens going, getting their landscaping done, and so we're talking today about weekend warriors. The ones who they're hard at the desk all week, computer, and then they go
try to pack a week's worth of activity into 2 days.
2 days, yeah. So let's talk about what does being a weekend warrior mean, and how do we help these people?
Yeah, because you're definitely the one who's always getting the texts and phone calls on Saturday and Sunday. Hey, Dr. Dan, I threw out my back.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Can you see me today?
So weekend warriors. I mean, we hear this term. You hear this term in the gym world too. Again, the people that kind of don't do anything through the week and then hit it really hard during the weekend. And so we're talking about it more from the people where, again, you're trying to get done everything you can over the weekend with, like you said, the outdoor stuff, mowing and landscaping and, and that stuff, that's physical labor. And so if you're not taking care of yourself during the week, so if you're not super active during the week and then you're going to the weekend and doing that kind of stuff, you're really putting yourself at risk for some kind of injury. And so we really want to talk about just making sure, especially coming out of the winter months, if you haven't been doing much, because again, there tends to be that cyclical pattern. People get a little more sedentary this time of year. Again, not everybody. We're just kind of talking about in general here. So we're coming out of the winter months where maybe you haven't been doing as much. You really want to be careful about. I think about this past weekend was absolutely gorgeous. So I'm sure there were many weekend warriors out.
Trying to get the walk in or hike.
Yeah. You want to be careful about going from nothing to all of a sudden, oh, the weather's nice. Okay, I'm going to landscape for 8 hours, or the weather's nice. I'm going to go out for a 5-mile run, even though I haven't run in several months. So kind of going from that nothing to everything. And especially if you're talking about doing outdoor stuff, a couple things, just going to talk about as far as just making sure that you're being aware of different things, what you're wearing, what you're eating, how much you're drinking, things like that. Because again, it's just, it might sound silly, but it really can, you can do some damage to yourself. I mean, we had somebody, just yesterday, new patient that, was talking about, I was, 18 months ago, I was crouching down and twisted to pick something up and, pop. And
it hasn't been the same since.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we don't think about is that, the risk associated with doing too much, or again, I think this is just going to be a quick job. I'm going to go out and do this as quickly as I can because I've got this 2-hour window, and then again, you rush through something and you literally hurt yourself, and you mess up a disc or a joint in the low back.
Trust me, that's your.
Your life may never be the same. And I don't say that to scare people that you shouldn't do stuff, but this is what we're talking about. We want to make sure that you are prepped and strong, and again, know your limitations too. I am not a high school or college power lifter anymore. So if I'm out there and I'm like pulling on a root trying to get a bush or something up, and I feel like there's too much resistance there. First off, I'm humble enough to say, all right, well, here's my tool.
Yeah,
I'm gonna use my tool to break through this.
Man has evolved to the point we have tools.
So know your limitations. But again, you get caught up in the heat of the moment sometimes, and you're just trying to pull this, and it's like, gosh dang it, just one or two more pulls, and it's that's that. I overdid it. That was it.
Well, and that's a great place to start, because one of the points I wanted to talk about was the paying attention to your positioning when you're doing. Especially again, this can be applied to just general exercise, but especially when you're doing just kind of those day-to-day things, the landscaping, the gardening, even the stuff around the house. Getting into spring cleaning time, if you're going to be packing up boxes, moving furniture, doing kind of those deep cleanings. It sounds silly, but that kind of constant up, down, if you're not bending correctly, lifting correctly, I think about it every time I do laundry, because the way my machine's positioned, I kind of have to go from it's sort of like a twist motion. And, and again, I have the mobility in my spine to be able to do that. But if you're tight or you're weak and you don't have that strength, just that simple motion of kind of bend and twist can be enough. So, I know you have some good kind of gardening tips as far as, or just, doing work as far as how to kind of help position your spine a little bit better so you're not in that sort of crouch down position for too long.
Well, interesting you say crouch, because that's actually me is a safer way than
I guess I'm thinking more like bent. You don't want to be in a bent position.
Yeah, so like if you're and I see this a lot in
primal squat if you can do it.
Yes, but women and men where again they don't have the mobility in their knees anymore, and so they don't want to get into a squat position because either they can't or
they're afraid of getting back,
or they're afraid of kind of getting stuck with their knees locking up. But then what happens is their legs are straight and they're bending straight over. Yep. So they're in this Russian deadlift, this straight leg deadlift position. Yeah. And then again, it might be fine if you're, pulling some, small, some small,
little weeds.
Yeah, small weeds or whatever. And with easy roots. But then it's like, okay, you get to that one and you're like turned a little bit. So again, the bend and twist is like the easiest way to mess your back up. So you should not be having, if you can't get low enough in a squat position, that would be the best way, squatting down, would be the best way to weed. That's how if I'm weeding my garden or if I'm digging something up, I'm planting something, I am down in a squat position or down in a half squat position where I'm on one knee, and I'm doing my digging or pulling of weeds. That's the position that I get into. If you can't do that, then you need to figure out how you can get down closer to the ground. And you either need to have a kneel pad that you can kneel down on. You get a small chair or a bench or stool that you can sit down next to the dirt. But even then you have to be careful, because then if you're sitting and then you have to bend forward down to the dirt,
you're still doing the same thing.
You're still doing a very similar thing where you're straightening that low back out. And that's the weakest position for the low spine to be in. So you have to you have to assess this and figure out what positions that you can get into. And like I said, the squat position, great position. The kneeling down, great way. And then you need to take breaks. You need to get in and out of this position. Some people, they get into these awkward positions and they're there for like an hour without moving. It's like, I get up, I walk around, I take a drink of water, or I, get a pile of weeds and, walk them. You have to change that position, because we're not designed to be in like that one position for, extended periods of time, especially if it's a high impact or high strain on the spine.
Yeah, you can take a look at everything that you're trying to get done that day, and, maybe instead of doing all the weeding or planting, where do some of that, and then maybe mow a little bit of the grass when you're in an upright position, kind of mix it instead of doing all the mowing where it's all standing and then all the crouching stuff, just doing, mixing it up a little bit more so that you're not, like you said, in the awkward positions for prolonged periods of time.
I think warming up too, just like with.
I was going to say that. I'm like, as silly as it sounds.
No, it's not at all, because
I'm just just picture, sorry, all I can picture is like grandma in her gardening hat and like just doing like, I don't know, it's
hours
just,
at a time. But that's exactly right, is that we don't, we warm up if we're going to go exercise at the gym, and that might be an hour. But then you have people who they're literally outside landscaping, laying mulch, pulling weeds, mowing, literally for 8 hours in a day. And I love that they feel that they can do that. Well, and then they come into the office and they're like, oh, Dr. Dan, I'm so sore. And they think they did something wrong. And it's like, no, if I did that for 8 hours, I'd be sore too. That's your body saying you used the muscle. So, but there's a difference between muscular exhaustion and like injuring, sprain, strain of an actual joint or ligament. So, warming up. And part of that warm up is making sure you're properly hydrated. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you have to if you're going to go outside on a hot day, you think about the amount of water that you would normally drink throughout your day. Hopefully, we always say 1 ounce for every pound of body weight, or 1 ounce for every kilogram of body weight. So take your body weight in pounds, divide it by 2. That number is how many ounces you should drink throughout your day. Okay, that's on a normal day if you're not terribly active. If you're going to go outside on a hot day and it's humid and you're sweating a lot, I mean, you need to really be upping that liquid intake, that water intake. So if you're about to go outside, you should be drinking a minimum of 16 to 20 ounces before you even step out your door.
About an hour before too. Yeah. Like not right before.
Yeah.
Because we talk about that at the gym all the time too. You see the people coming in and like chugging water right before they work out. It's like, well, that's not in your system. Yeah,
exactly. It's in your stomach.
You want to be hydrated about an hour before your activity so that you have so that it's in there and again, especially if you're doing those long-term things, before, during, and after. So you want to make sure, again, you're hydrated before you start, drinking water throughout the day, and then making sure that you're replenishing at the end of the day there too. So, I mean, I know it's easy to get, lost at, caught up in things, and all of a sudden several hours have gone by, but having a water bottle with you is the easiest way to do it.
And once it runs out, use that as a break time to go fill it back up.
And nice, we're sitting here with our nice stainless steel ones. They keep it cold. So that's a big thing too, because if you're out there on a hot day, you don't want like a plastic, like throwaway type of bottle, because that's going to sit out there in the hot sun. And but get nice, stainless steel water bottle. You have nice cold water all day. You can, throw some lemon or your fresh herbs that you're planting and picking. Yeah, your little make some cucumber mint. Oh, cucumber mint water is delicious. Yeah. So making sure that you're staying hydrated, making sure, and then if it's an excessively hot day, I mean, we're not into those months yet, but making sure electrolyte wise too, that you're keeping that balanced by either having something salty, or they have those electrolyte packets that you can add to water, because if you're sweating excessively and then you're drinking a bunch of just plain water, you're replenishing the water, but you're going to throw off your electrolyte balance, which is where you start to maybe feel lightheaded, get the headaches, dizzy, that kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that you're watching that balance as well, which again becomes more of an issue into the summer months, but just making sure that if you're somebody who sweats a lot, then you probably need to make sure, like I keep my electrolytes with me all the time in the summer, because we hit those summer months and it's just you really want to make sure that that hydration's huge, because people just don't, you can be out there all day. And again, if you're doing that kind of stuff where you're in awkward positions or lifting or pulling things and you get a bout of dizziness or lightheadedness, I mean, that's
quick way to fall over and injure yourself.
Exactly.
Game changer.
So just making sure that you're being mindful. But the as far as warm-ups too, so if you guys haven't checked out our stretching library, we have all kinds of different, our happy hummingbird, that's our favorite. It does feel really good. But there's all kinds of different movements for your from your neck, shoulders, all the way down to your low back. Just kind of working through those. Find a little 5-10 minute routine that just makes sure that you're, especially if you're going out first thing in the morning, roll out of bed, out the door. I mean, you really want to make sure, take a lap around the block first, do some stretching first, and then go into the more heavy duty.
When you said that in the right order too, because I think so many people, they immediately, they think it's easy. I can still stretch in my PJs. But what I tell people is you got to get your heart rate up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And, you almost to optimize a stretch, you should really be stretching at the end of your workout. But the beginning of the workout is important to make sure that you're building up just a light sweat, because that's what's going to, get some of that pliability into the, into the muscles and into the soft tissue. So making sure that, you can just walk up and down the steps a couple times, take a lap, but it's important that before you do stretch, you're getting that heart rate up a little bit. And then you actually are going to optimize, the stretching that you do. As you're
well, and that's why we call it our stretching library, but some of the movements are actually more dynamic, and and that's what I talk to clients a lot about. There can be the same quote unquote stretch, but I'll do it differently if it's the beginning of my workout versus end of the workout. So you can do like the cat camel, for instance. As a warm up, you kind of just go through it more, you're going back and forth through, you're not holding either position for very long. So that's the one where you're kind of arching your back and then, kind of working that spinal movement. Compression. So you can, as actually a really good warm up, you just don't hold. So you're just going back and forth to warm up through that range of motion, versus at the end of a workout, I'm going to hold both extremes of it for, 5 to 10 seconds, get a nice strong hold before going. So you can
static versus dynamic.
Yeah. So you can take a static stretch and make it dynamic. So same with just the penguin, instead of maybe holding it, you can just kind of work, do the neck, kind of get into the position and then relax. And, the hummingbird's a great one for warm, because that's just, moving the shoulders and getting that, so anything. Yeah. I tell people, especially if you have hip issues, I tell people all the time, like, doing the stuff that's more dynamic, the moving through the ranges of motion is always going to be better than just like a static hold. Because if you have tight hips and you go into a hip stretch, it's just going to make your hips even more angry at you, versus if you do something more dynamic. So that's if you don't feel the ability to like go out and do a walk, you can just kind of do some movements like that. In your house, just kind of, again, move through those range of motions. That's a great way too to, because if you do those, if you do something, that's a great way for your body to tell you like, oh wait, something didn't feel good. So if if I'm doing some shoulder rolls and I'm feeling like a pinch before I even get started, I know, okay, something's, something might not be right in there. So I want to be careful. I don't want to go and, maybe yank just using that arm, or I want to maybe just be careful or more mindful of that. So that warm up's a great time for your body to kind of tell you like, what feels good, what doesn't feel good.
But especially if you are someone who does work out regularly, and maybe you had a really hard workout. Like, I worked out really hard with some friends of mine last Saturday, and it's Tuesday, and it's like I'm still sore, and I know this is the type of soreness I'm going to be sore for another day or two. So I mean, it's so if you have had a hard workout throughout your week, and now you're going to go out and do some sort of landscaping or your project in the house where you're lifting furniture or wood or whatever, it's like you better be listening to your body, and it's like and move in a way that's going to respect that soreness and not take advantage of it, because you don't take care of your body, body's going to let you know.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So they're so important. Again, it goes back to that body awareness and doing that warm up routine, just kind of assessing like, all right, where am I at? That can go a long way for helping set yourself up so you're not injuring yourself throughout your day.
Yep. So basically, I mean, it's just, this is just kind of that reminder that treat those weekend activities the same you would time in the gym. Like you said, it's, when we go to the gym, people think, okay, I need to warm up. I need to hydrate. I should cool down. But we don't think about that sometimes when we're just going about our weekend activities, whether it's, even just if it's like going out for a hike with the family or, whatever, heck, even, going to the pool or something with the kids can be a heck of a workout. Yeah. So just, keep in mind that, anytime you're going to be asking your body to do something above and beyond what you normally do, you just want to make sure that you're kind of taking that proper time to, to warm up, to hydrate, and then, stretch afterwards. Because again, even it's, even things you might not think about, it's, after, doing those kind of repetitive movements over and over, if you don't stretch that area, let it kind of relax down at the end of the day, you'll feel it the next day for sure.
And I think, especially you're doing some sort of like digging or, pulling, weeds or roots or something.
That's like one-sided kind of stuff too.
Yeah, one-sided. And well, that's a good point too, is I always try and tell people to work both sides,
I cannot.
I know we're past, we're spring season here, but like raking leaves. I mean, a lot of times people just be raking up some of the brush and some of the, dead plants and stuff. It's like raking, that's a two-sided, shoveling snow, you should be trying to do things two sides, because that's going to make a much better difference on your, on your stability and your musculature.
As someone who does a very one-sided sport, yes, I can tell you it's work both sides.
Well, that's looking at me looking at spines all day long. I can tell you the people who do one-sided sports, they have a lot more detriment on their spine than people who do sports that are kind of bilateral. That stuff is important. So hydrate, warm up, assess, be aware, and treat the weekend, respect the weekend, especially if you are
I love when people use the weekend to be active.
Yes, absolutely. We're very much a fan. So don't think that we're trying to say don't do it.
Well, and that could be the other suggestion too. Is keep in mind there's 7 days in the week. So if you have the opportunity to spread, especially if it's going to be the more heavy duty stuff, if you have some time, before or after work or during the day, during the week, spread that stuff out instead of saving the 8 hours of manual labor for one day. If you can kind of spread it out, that's gonna help in the long run as well.
I love working. Since summertime, it's light until 9 o'clock at night. So I come home from the office. I might not get home from the office till 7 o'clock, but I still have 2 hours. I can cut the grass and I can work in the garden. And I can do a number of things before it even gets dark. So.
Exactly. So kind of taking advantage of as the days get longer, taking advantage of it being later in the morning, later in the evening, and not necessarily having to save it all up for the weekend. So that's your that's our topic for today. Don't be
service.
Yes, that's what I'm used to saying from my PSAs. What day is it? What are we recording? But don't be the weekend warrior. Make sure you're being mindful of your bodies. So, and again, if you do, don't hesitate to reach out with us. We're not saying, but don't be the person that has to text Dr. Dan on the weekend.
I'll take care of you if you do, but let's not be that person.
Let's try to prevent that. So.
All right. So thank you for stopping by. As always, check out more of our podcasts and our other resources on our website, Turo, Turo, familychiropractic.com. And with that, I am Dr. Dan here with Angela.
We'll see you guys next time.
You've been listening to What the Health with Dr. Dan and Angela Toro, brought to you by Toro Family Chiropractic. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.whatthehealth.world.